Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one! Another one! Another one! Huge hole! He's at the 30. He's going to go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Worked out by Burke. Bounces into Cody. Puts it up. Scores!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome aboard. I hope you had a great weekend. You're ready to get your week started. Charlie Miller's here. Charlie, how are you, sir?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
Cannot complain. How was your weekend?
Weekend was good, man. It was Saturday was off. Sunday was back on the court yesterday, and got a chance to, John was kind of talking about the producer talking about the Cowboys game. Watched a snippet of it. Kind of had the formal, the familiar outcome that I figured was going to happen. Just to know it was going to be that dramatic, but that's why it's tough to be a Cowboys fan.
Man, yeah, the NFL playoffs getting underway, and man, tomorrow, Mike DeCourcy joins us, big Steelers fan, won't be happy. They were just routed, but the 49ers, I guess it's being called an upset for Dallas. And, how it happened there toward the end, Dak Prescott, looks like they were going to come back and didn't happen.
Yeah, man, but that's, I don't care the sport. You just spend too much energy and everything has to be right, like lined up the right way. And even to the butting of the referee, to the butting of the center, to the mishandle of the ball, that last play, and then all of a sudden the clock expires. Just too many things that had to go right for Cowboys to win that. And, if you don't play solid all three quarters, you just can't expect those dramatic comebacks like that all the time.
Yeah, at 4th and 1, tough. I mean, it's just, oh, well. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but
yeah, it is what it is.
It's the playoffs are usually always fun, and you usually don't see the blowouts like you did in that Steelers game. Whoo, man,
you know what? It was a big deal. I don't know if I dozed off or something, but it was interesting because I thought the Chiefs just scored, but I saw they ran a play. I thought it was a 2-point conversion, but they ran the play for the tackle, and the tackle scored. They ran like a little bubble route, and the tackle, kind of did like a tight end thing, kind of, hit somebody, ran into the end zone, scored the touchdown. And I mean, that was insult to injury. That's when, it was like when the tackle scored, it was insult. You saw the Steelers' face, all the players' faces were down. They just looked muffed. That was just, it was a beatdown, straight beatdown.
Absolutely. The NFL released their playoff schedule for a divisional weekend. Cincinnati will be next Saturday. Cincinnati will play it. How about the Bengals, man? Speaking of the Bengals, haven't won a playoff game since
1991, right?
Many of the people that are listening were not even born.
I think it's 91. Yeah, 91.
Yeah, 31 years.
It's crazy.
31 years. They got that monkey off their back with a 26-19 win over the Las Vegas Raiders, thanks to a defensive stand there toward the end. They'll now head to Nashville in an attempt to pick up second. I mean, they look good, too. I mean, Joe Burrow, I was like, dude, look like a 10-year veteran out there.
Hey, look, you're playing. This is the right time to play. Everybody's healthy. You never know what can happen.
San Francisco will travel to Green Bay at 8:15. I guess it's on the same day, on the Saturday. And then Sunday, the Rams take on the Cardinals at, wait a minute. No, the Rams or the Cardinals. So they must play tonight.
Yes, I think they do. They play tonight.
One more. Yeah. I knew there's one game left. So the Rams and the Cardinals tonight. The winner of that game will take on Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next Sunday. Mm-hmm. So we got another game tonight. Man, that ought to be a good game to watch.
Yeah.
And then the Bills are at the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing well too.
Maybe the only team that can beat the Chiefs.
Yeah. Yeah, they play solid all season.
But there's that. And happy Monday. It is Martin Luther King Day, by the way.
Yes.
And it's just one of those people in life that gave up and sacrificed so much for so many.
Yeah.
And of course, Charlie, you would obviously be able to speak better than that to me, but I know the history. He was just a great man who fought and sacrificed, and that spilled over to sports. I mean,
And you know, the cool thing about it, I could say, Jim, when I was kind of weeks ago, when I went to go visit my son in Midway, Kentucky, we actually spent some time in Memphis, Tennessee, and we went by the Lorraine Hotel, you know, where he was assassinated. And, you know, you see all the, you know, kind of the settings, the cars and the replica reefs right by the balcony area. But, you know, what I was sharing with you earlier, man, you know, people like him, you know, once in a generational kind of people, you know, he's allowed for someone like myself to be married to a white woman without any problem for me in my mind. He fought for equality, right? And I think, you know, it was probably tough to understand and imagine 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, he was fighting for equality. You know, we all are equal. You know, for me to have a shirt on like I have today on purpose is all he stood for, how to be good to people every single day, all day. You know, we're not no religious undertone. It was just character. People like him, Muhammad Ali, they stood up for humanity. He fought for humanity. Unfortunately, he lost his life, but for every loss, there's a great gain. And I think still to this day, we recognize that gain. On this day, we celebrate his life.
Absolutely. And it's carries over to everyone. It carries over to a lot more people than people wish to realize. So
right.
Make sure that we acknowledge that today on this special day. Also, I know I was told yesterday a good friend of mine, Brent Hutton, lost a good friend from the Evansville area, but he was someone who well known to Evansville and to Indiana. Dr. Robert Bobby Nelson Jr. He accomplished a ton on the sports field, but then he devoted his life to fighting AIDS and COVID-19 and other diseases. Never married, never had kids, but because he was dedicated to that. But he was an all-state quarterback for Evansville Rights. They won the 1971 Mythical State Championship. He was on the basketball team, led them to back-to-back sectional titles in 71, 72. He died on December 9th at Franciscan Health in Indianapolis from complications from pneumonia. But just want to make sure we acknowledge people like him that reached out through sports and have given so much to their life as well. So there's that. But so tonight we've got another NFL game. We've got the Indiana women. They had a gigantic win for them yesterday. They traveled to West Lafayette without Hillary Cardano in the starting lineup, without Mackenzie Holmes in the starting, All-American Mackenzie Holmes in the starting lineup. And we're down by 8 with, I think, 3 minutes to go. And we're able to pull out that's a gutsy win, man. That's a gut check win.
Hey, look, they got a solid team. I mean, you know, they belong. And those are to me, those kind of wins, that fits their character and identity for what kind of team they are. Gritty, grind it out, know each other's game. That's not surprising. Coach Knight would say anything you never know what can happen. You keep a game under 10 points, 5 minutes to go, anything can happen. And that's a great example of anything can happen by just taking one play at a time and chipping at it. Doing what you got to do on defense and making sure you take care of the ball offensively. That's what it sounded like it happened late time. Those 3 minutes left in the game.
Man, I mean, but yeah, they did in an environment like that, and they had it packed. The Mackey was full, it was loud, and you talk about a gut check win when you don't have two of your starters against a rival. And Purdue was 11-5, so they weren't any slouch on top of that.
That's some confidence.
So congratulations to
the
women's team as they continue.
Right.
I think they're up 6-0 now in Big Ten play.
Wow.
So congratulations to them. Joe Beesman Hall, former coach at Kentucky, passed away over the weekend as well. Very, very well liked. Him and Denny Crum had a radio show for a while down in Louisville. Nice. It was hilarious. It was freaking hilarious. Two old men just sitting there.
I bet
it was two old men rambling. It was funny.
I bet. All kind of stories, recruiting stories. Yeah. Probably how they undercut each other. Right?
Fishing. They're talking about fishing all the time. They talk about.
Love it.
Yeah, there was no animosity. It's so funny. That's what made it funny. You had the Louisville and the Kentucky coach doing a show together when people are like just fans carry it a lot further than athletes and coaches do. But yeah, it's kind of funny. But we want to acknowledge Joe Hall's passing. He had an impact on college basketball. He won a national championship in '78 with Kentucky. Got slapped in the back of the head by Bob Knight one time. It pissed him off. It pissed Hall off. And they were, how Knight would always really give it to you.
Yeah.
Well, he gave one of those to Joe Hall one time on the back of the head, and it pissed him off.
I remember those heavy hand hits.
How many of those did you get?
Several.
I mean, you could tell it was like, that looked like that left a mark.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is coming up. John, let's see. We got another couple minutes. We got one more NFL game tonight in Indiana, of course, taking on Nebraska tonight. We'll be talking about that as they are looking for their first road win, man. An early game, by the way, 6:00 our time. But they are still looking for a road win, and we'll be talking about this because I hate to call it this, but this is kind of a must-win game. You just can't lose to a Nebraska.
Yeah. This is a get-right opportunity. I mean, it is what it is. It's a get-right opportunity. Unfortunately, you have to have this kind of sense of urgency. You want to play more with importance to your priorities, but you got to play with a sense of urgency. So I look at it the same way. It's a must win.
Let's see. What else did I see? Oh, yeah. Keith Smart. Forgot about that. Keith Smart picked up a win as an interim coach for Arkansas yesterday. Big win. As they upset number 12 LSU.
Right.
And I think he will be coaching again one more game because Musselman is recovering from shoulder surgery. But congratulations to Keith.
That's a good, Dave. I mean, obviously, I don't want to get too far into the rabbit hole about him and this opportunity, probably Indiana, who knows. But, we got a coach. But good for Keith. I mean, that's what he wants and that's what he desires. I see him possibly being somebody in the SEC because not too far from home, he could tell that story about being passed up, wanting to go to LSU or those schools like that, just saying. So, that's good for him, good for him at Arkansas to pull that out as an interim that I saw them dancing in the locker room. That was pretty cool. That's cool to watch.
Yep. Always fun. Hey, we got to take a break. We got plenty more coming up on this day. We're looking forward to getting to it. Indiana taking on Nebraska. We got to preview that. We'll hear from Trey Galloway. Stick with us. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our great friends at Southern Stone Restaurant, located at Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington, where you can find tonight at 7:05. No, you can't. Not tonight. Normally Mondays you can, but not tonight because they're in Nebraska. But the Mike Woodson Inside Indiana Basketball with Don Fisher, Mike Woodson, normally on Mondays. That's why Don Fisher's not here today. He will be here on Wednesday.
Exactly.
But we're back with Charlie Miller right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurants.
Whether it's a celebration.
All right. Hey, Jim, when you get back, I'll let you know what I've got from Trey Galloway.
We've got to somehow take that song Southern Man and turn it into the Southern
commercial.
Stone, dun, 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 because that's all I can think about every time I say that word, those words. Southern.
Sounds like it needs to be a part of their marketing.
Yeah, but it'd be kind of illegal.
Yeah.
Or really, really expensive.
For Trey Galloway, I've got him talking about how the second unit needs to perform better. That's the first clip. The second clip is kind of a continuation of that, except it's more focused about taking care of the ball, not turning the ball over, maintaining a lead, that kind of stuff.
About that. New cup of coffee.
So I got me a fresh cup too.
Fresh cup in that time, baby.
Did you hear the clips? I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And that's kind of perfect because they don't really have a second unit. They have one, but they don't. Seriously. They got guys they put in, but they don't have a second unit, which is dumb though. I don't know that there's any such thing as a second unit in college. I mean, there just isn't.
Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurants.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Monday. Charlie Miller with me, Jim Coyle, as always. Trey Galloway met with the media the other day. Indiana is in Lincoln, Nebraska today for a ball game tonight, in which they desperately need a road win, Charlie. They lose at Iowa a few days ago. I was there, a game that was there for the taking for them, and just collapsed in the second half. I have a hard time explaining it. There were some things that went on that need to be changed. Of course, the rotations, the substitution patterns. I think that Mike Whitson learned a serious lesson at Iowa when that situation where he took all five starters out when they had all the momentum, and man, he gave it back. They gave it back to Iowa, allowing them to go on a big 10-0 run right there and get right back into the game. Trey Galloway, let's hear him. That comment, John, you talked about the second unit.
Yeah, we just, like Coach said, we got to be able to come in and provide a certain boost to the team, especially on the road. We got to find ways to come in and make plays and either contain the lead or extend the lead. So I think that's one thing that the second unit has to focus on is be able to come in and bring great energy, just play hard from the get go. So,
and while that's true, I just there's no way that you're going to be able to bring 5 guys off the bench at the same time.
No, not if you're not used to doing that. You're not that, and the game is the wrong place to explore that. That's the wrong, especially on the road for me. And that's just tough. Again, like you said, it's a learning lesson. I think it's going to be a learning lesson. It's a tale of two teams. It's the second half. The dive on the floor from Iowa, they needed a spark. We turned the ball over the very first play of the second half. And all of a sudden, it goes downhill. You gain no momentum. And those just things you just can't. Again, at 45, Jim, this is really easy to see. I don't know if they're playing. It's just me. You ask Charlie at 20, are you playing hard every play? Yeah, man, I'm busting my butt. I'm going after it. No. You just came out of the locker room. You're not ready to play. They went right at you. You know what? And this happens to be a trend I'm seeing. All of a sudden, they're mucking it up. I think twice, if I'm not mistaken, I saw 2 possessions where Iowa got like 3+ rebounds. Miss shot, tip, miss shot, tip, miss shot, tip, make shot. It's like, okay, you're not going to win many games with that because those offensive rebounds are almost like someone dunking on you. It's so much momentum for your team, their bench, the crowd, especially on the road. And it gets so loud that now you can't focus. What you used to have momentum on, you no longer have. Even though you were up, it feels like you're down. That's kind of what I see take over with this group in the second halves.
Yeah, a lot of the second half guys are guys that obviously don't have a lot of experience.
Guys, yeah.
But also, I don't think this team can ever not have Trace or Race on the floor, ever.
Yeah,
not right now. Not with what the personnel they have now. If this was 2 years later and Logan Duncombe was a second-year player, maybe you could have him and Durr out there for a few minutes, but not very long, because Michael Durr is just right now. I see him as someone that can give a few minutes. That's it. So, but yeah, they can't be off the floor at the same time. Indiana is just who in the it's you've just opened up the entire paint by taking both of those guys out of there
on both sides of the ball, right? Because you got 2 athletic. When I say athletic, these guys are high wire acts. Anything up there, I may be wrong, but they're not the best. They're not the best technique box out guys because they can really jump. They can go high in the sky. You take those 2 guys out now. It's a free for all, attacking the basket, keeping again tip balls alive when we're on defense. It throws off your opportunities. Now a missed shot is a really good shot for your opposing team, as opposed to when those 2 are in the game. A missed shot, they got a good chance to come up with that basketball. So yeah, and like I said, Michael Durr is more of a sparing guy through 2, 3, 4 minutes. To hope in 4 minutes is max, and that's a lot of time. That's almost a TV segment timeout,
especially depending on who's in on the other side.
And then the situation of the game. Where are you momentum wise, right? But this is one of those unnecessary evils because you gotta get him used to those minutes. Unfortunately, it just bit us in the butt.
Right now, if I asked you who was the only undefeated team in the Big Ten at 6-0, who would you guess that is? If you don't know,
I'm gonna go with a wild card, Northwestern.
No, but it's you're in the same state, Illinois.
Okay, dang it, Illinois.
It's not that it's a shock, but a little bit of a surprise because they lost. they had some losses of some key talent. You still have the man-child in the middle.
Yeah, dude.
But they're 6-0, 13-3 overall. They've won 6 straight. They win at home. They're 8-1. They're 3-1 on the road. Wisconsin sitting right there at 5-1, and that one's just going to just gnaw at Hoosier fans all year long. They're 14-2 on the season. Oh, that one's just going to hurt.
That was the game. That was the one. You win that game, I think you have a different attitude.
Exactly.
You have that
Iowa loss it stings, but it's not the sting that it has right now.
But it goes back to, again, the lingering effects of the letdown. And now you got to realize that becomes locker room fodder for not only players, but coaches give you a reminder. Hey, man, this is a great first half team. Second half, we're going to take it to them.
Plus, this is the 8 straight road losses going back to last year. So this is, Trace Jackson Davis and those guys, it's hanging on them still that they have to get that fixed. Michigan State at 5-1 in the league, 14-3 overall, but they're coming off. They just got upset at home by Northwestern. So trust me, Hoosier fans, it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Do you think Michigan State fans were happy? Number 10, Michigan State was happy to lose to Northwestern, who is 2-4 in the conference. They were 1-4 prior to that. So, yeah. But it's a Big Ten, man. Now that's them losing that game at home is a little surprising, but they did. Northwestern went into East Lansing and beat Tom Izzo.
Which is not easy. Yeah, which is not easy to do. I mean, according to my reference points back many years ago.
I'm sure you know. And so then you've got, Indiana has got a big portion of their schedule coming up, but it's up to them. I thought that this was a tournament team, and it is.
Yeah.
But they have to get tougher on the road.
Yeah.
You have got to steal one here and there, and that Wisconsin one that was the opportunity, golden opportunity. You didn't get that. Iowa was another opportunity. Now you're in a situation where you have to win. You cannot lose to the team that is 0-7 in the conference.
Yeah. You got to go. That statement game. You got to go out, play hard every possession, and then second half you got to come out really willing and able on the defensive end. Let the offense take care of itself, because that to me is, again, it's the patterns. And the patterns were a very slow offensive starting team second half. Who knows why? To me, you make that up on defense. You put all your eggs in that defensive basket on effort, attitude, all the things you can control, desire, and let easy offense happen.
And something else, I was talking to former SID Kit Klingelhofer yesterday from IU, and he pointed out something. We think of Purdue as the team that's going to win the Big Ten. They're 3-2 right now in the conference. They're already 2 games behind Illinois, and could easily fall 3. That's for Purdue not to win the Big Ten this year. That would be big deal to me, I think.
Yes.
And currently they're sitting down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're sitting down 6th in the league right now, early on. But and then Michigan 1-3.
Yeah.
Of course, they've missed those games. They didn't get to play, but they're 7-7 overall. They've lost 3 straight. Now they have to look at making the tournament.
That's right. And now this is going to be a big test for Juwan Howard too. Now you have some coaching adversity. Now can you put it together? And as a player, he did it. He figured it out. And I think as a coach, he'll figure it out too.
It's a lot of folks talking about people, they like to see, oh, they're asking about this player, but George Geronimo, why is he not playing more? Why is this guy not playing more? My only answer to that is I'm not in practice. So I'm assuming most of that is based upon what goes on in practice. But if you're not getting the production you need in the games, like the other day at Iowa, why not put an Anthony Leal in and try to get him some shots? I'm not aboard questioning a lot of the decisions, but not this year. We got to let it play out, man. I'm like, okay, I'm not in practice. I want to see what goes on.
Yeah.
Now the substitution pattern, we've already talked about that. I think we already agreed that's probably just a learning lesson. You move on from that, but I can't question because I don't know what's going on in practice. Yeah. And therefore that's what, like Christian Lander, I'm like, if they thought he should be on the floor, he would be on the floor. I think they're either afraid of his defense yet, or I'm not sure quite what it is. But there's a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Christian Lander, I mean, again, homegrown kid, you want to see the best for him. I'm going to just call it what it is. Coach and the staff may not believe in his game right now. It's called development, right? With Geronimo, they may not believe in his perimeter skills that's needed. Games like Iowa, you need to probably play more on the perimeter to really create opportunities. They may not believe in that. He's a great rebounder, but they didn't want to play 3 bigs, 2 guards. You had to really find a way to make plays from the perimeter. I'm not saying he can't do that. I mean, I've seen him make the 3-ball catch and shoot. I've seen him pull up for a jumper. But I think the consistent ball handle responsibility to make plays for other people may not be there right now in this game. Was it asked for him? I don't think last year. May not be there. So I think that's kind of what we're after. I think they're after 3 guys on the court who can make plays, 2 guys, obviously, in the trace and race that can make plays. I would say free throw line and down. So I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of my observation, what I'm watching. And I think you're trying to do the best with, with Xavier and Miller, and then Parker as well. Your perimeter guys. And outside of that, now you just got guys who haven't played consistent minutes enough of those in quality minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like those really quality minutes in those kind of games. That's crucial. So I think they're finding their rotation. They're just trying to also build trust in the team to build the play of the other players as well.
Howie asks, says honest question, what offense are they running?
I don't think it's about that because now it's just not like I could tell you they're running a flex. Like now offense is more of a dribble drive. We call uphill action. Uphill action is a dribble handoffs into a ball screen. It's a motion, right? It's a read and react. I don't think you can say it's a 5-out, like, kind of we played back in the day. Even you couldn't really tell what we did because we didn't have any plays. We didn't drop X's and O's.
Because it was all about reads, right?
We just reads, yeah. So basketball now, it's a bunch of what I would call, no disrespect, a lot of the plays in the beginning. If you look at offense, a lot of the plays are handoffs, passes. That's just to get the ball moving and hopefully get the defense shifting. I don't think it's done with purpose to like turn the corner, look to score. So I don't think there's any particular offense other than dribble handoffs, ball screens, and looking to make plays, put people in space to make plays. So I don't know the name of that offense. I don't think you can point it out other than, again, like I said, ball screens, dribble handoffs, inside out play, and reading off each other.
And a quick update, Indiana's game against Wisconsin on the 23rd. When is that? Today's what, the 8th, 17th? So that's only 6 days away. What is that, Saturday?
Yeah.
So 3:30 on CBS. National TV audience for that one. Time for some, there you go. Indiana. Oh, that's Michigan, rather. I said Wisconsin. Indiana versus Michigan. Ooh, that's going to be a battle. Michigan desperately need both two teams that desperately. Indiana cannot lose at home.
Yep.
Michigan desperately needs a win. Woo! There's just every game is just going to have a storyline.
That's right. I mean, and that's what you want. You want that now that the competitive nature that Coach Woodson talked about at the beginning of the season, prior to Bahamas. Every practice you got to compete, and I think that's where they are right now. It's not about you put yourself in a situation you can't. Again, as much as you can't control, that they're going to control. I'm not into I told you so's, but whoever was smart enough to say this team predicted this team to be a seventh seed as far as in the Big Ten standings. This is exactly where they're at. That person was very smart. I mean, and it's going to take time. You know what I mean? Like, this is, for me, it's like a brand new team. You got a whole new point guard. You got a whole new team with three players who've never played with you really consistently. We know two players who played with us, Trace and Race. You got three guys who really played. So I don't know if you're going to expect much than what you're really seeing, but I understand we need to talk about something. I get it.
Hey, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, Jalen Hood-Schifino had a big weekend. Point guard of the future for Indiana, a triple-double. We'll talk about that. Lots more. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, brought to you by our great friends at Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, located on Liberty Drive. $0 down, 0% APR financing. They'll get you on the road. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurants.
Sports on television.
Got that.
Jim, have y'all still not gotten any snow up in Bloomington?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it's on the ground right now.
Second snowfall last night.
It's on the ground right now.
I didn't know y'all got any.
Well, we have flurries. I can get into the conversation. We have flurries.
Hey, y'all had the big disaster last year where all the power went out for.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we had flurries. And that's like a big deal because my daughter was like, "Oh my God, it's snowing! Like it's snowing, like flurries." And, oh yeah, flurries. Exactly right. Little dust particles.
Yeah, Eastern Kentucky got hammered for like the second week in a row. A couple weeks ago, they got like 10 inches.
Dude, hey, when I was at Iowa, the other day, we had to roll out. As soon as I got done with the show, I'm like, we gotta go because it was riding right at us, and they were supposed to get 10 inches.
Wow, that's crazy.
We've only gotten, I would say last time we probably got about an inch, and then a few weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago, we got about 2, 3, or 4 inches. We haven't gotten a ton.
Yeah,
we usually don't get a ton. This is pretty normal for us, I would say, where I live.
Didn't used to be the case, man.
Every once in a while, like last year, we had a week-long snowstorm, but that hadn't happened in like 5 years. Depends on the year.
That's right. I think in Dallas on Christmas it was like 90. I wasn't here. We were obviously gone, but it was like it was like 90. Like it was.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's like so different.
I hate the extreme heat. Like I'd take 20 degrees over 90 degrees any day.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
$0 down. Or how about a brand new 2021 Honda Passport? Also 0% APR financing over 48 months and $0 down. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indie Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this cold and blustery Monday, brought to you by our good friends from Remax Realty. If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, make sure you reach out to Cheryl Sizemore. Her 2 decades of experience could be the reason you get the home you want. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. Number 1, Baylor loses back-to-back, Charlie. That's usually not something you see from a top-level team like that, but it's not craziness either.
Yeah, you get up for it. You get up for teams like that. I mean, you know, players who typically, may not have consistent great games. You get up for playing against teams like that, and you see they're vulnerable, and it makes everybody feel great because you did a good job on the scouting report from, the managers who may be breaking down the game film to the coaches that's putting together the strategies and the players who will execute it, and then you got to continue to make those adjustments. So yeah. So say, like they say in football, right? Any given Sunday in the NFL, any given, I guess, Saturday or day in basketball.
Yeah, and I'm looking over this weekend's Big Ten basketball scores. Penn State goes to Ohio State, gives them all they want. They end up losing by 5. E.J. Liddell with 19 points. Sam Sessoms had 15 for Penn State. But Penn State is not the Penn State of old, but they're still not there. They're kind of in that no man's land in the middle. They're not terrible, but they're not good enough to be good, but they can scare you. They knock off an Indiana team, but and they'll probably knock off somebody else, but they certainly look better than the Penn State teams that of the past.
Well, what I saw, they're a really good isolation team. They take some tough shots and they make them, and that's a tough team to beat when you start making shots like that. They take some tough shots and make them.
Indiana is still it's kind of hurting itself with its resume. That loss to Iowa that was so easy. Iowa turns around, goes to Minnesota, who has been playing really well, and wins on the road 81-71. So Iowa bolstering their resume, which again would have helped Indiana. That win over Wisconsin would have been phenomenal for Indiana. So it is a little scary. Indiana is going to have to win some big games. They're going to have to beat between Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan, and Illinois. I think you have to win 2 of those games. To make the tournament because of the losses that you have sustained.
Yeah, because now you got to build your resume. What kind of statement games you're going to have on your resume, especially where you are. Because right now, if you have the season in and let's say they took off, they took on and won one of them games, you may be standing around an 8-9 seed anyway in the NCAA tournament.
Well, is that right? Oh, that's right. Because of the holiday, Purdue plays Illinois today, not because of the holiday, the time-wise. But right. I was talking about the big game. I didn't realize that Purdue plays Illinois today. There you go. They lose that game to Illinois. That makes Illinois 7-0 and gives them a 3-game lead in the conference over Purdue. That's an almost insurmountable lead.
Tough, to come back from that because now
even
you got
we're early.
Too many things got to work in your way. One team has to lose. All that other stuff that's not really in your hands anymore.
So we'll see that. But that game starts, or if you're listening on radio, started at noon.
Oh, wow.
Today. So, but that's of course
early today. Yeah, a lot of them. Games. Yeah,
well, you've got it's a holiday, Martin Luther King holiday. Yeah. So at first I was like, "What the hell?" But it took me about 2 seconds. I'm like, "Oh, it's a holiday." Boom. Indiana playing at 6. Also a little odd, but I guess maybe that's because it's Big Ten. The Purdue game will be on Fox, so that's going to be something. That boy, I know where I'm going to be. That is going to be a woo baby. Kofi Coburn and Travion Williams,
Yeah,
or Zach Edey.
Zach Edey, yeah.
Kofi has looked, he's getting into better shape of the game. Alaska. You can tell he's getting back into beast mode.
Yes.
Which is where he has to stay for Illinois. And if he does that, man, I thought Illinois had fallen off, especially. Did Somnu leave, or is he still there?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember. I know they lost one of their guards. But then for Indiana, not only do you have this game tonight that's a must-win game on the road at Nebraska, you come home, Charlie, Thursday to play this Purdue team that we're talking about that's playing at Illinois. So Purdue's got to go to Illinois and then to Bloomington. Well, they've got to travel to Bloomington 2 weeks in a row, but just different Bloomingtons.
Right, exactly.
Or 2 games in a row, back-to-back games.
Exactly.
And they would have been playing in the Assembly Hall in Bloomington, back-to-back games in different cities.
Mm-hmm.
But that's no longer called the Assembly Hall, I think, is it, over there in Bloomington?
In Illinois. Wow.
Or Bloomington, Illinois.
Yeah.
But yeah, big game for Purdue today, and then bigger game for Indiana. Purdue is Thursday. You can go on and on about the reasons. First of all, the monkey is the 9 consecutive losses to your rival.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that. There is just no way a program like Indiana should ever lose 9 games to anyone, number one. They are currently have missed the NCAA tournament for 5 consecutive years already. I could not imagine a 6th year. This program, you cannot, and Indiana cannot, just simply cannot miss the tournament for a 6th straight year. Just cannot happen. I just to even be saying that, I can't believe it. But so they have their chances, and hopefully they can. They have the talent. When you see them play that half at Wisconsin, or how they played on the road in the half against Iowa, and sustaining that, Charlie, what is it about that's sustaining that?
Man, that's the key. Again, that's what I said. It's. I don't know if we are playing as hard as. Okay, playing hard. I don't know if we're focusing as much as we can to who we are in the second halves. Like that to me needs to be like a focal point. Like we are a team that comes out sluggish. Who knows why? We need to put more emphasis on the side that we control, which is on the defensive end, the second half, first 5 minutes of the game, to really set a tone like you said in the first half. And, not beating Wisconsin for so many seasons since 98, right? And then you have a Purdue team you haven't beaten, again, more than 6-7 seasons. That stuff lingers. It plays. That means you've had a whole class, freshman through senior, never win those games, never go on to understand what it means to even play an NCAA tournament. That's your identity. And action right now speaks louder than anything. We can talk about anything. So I'm hoping that they're working on that right now. But you got to understand, take care of business tonight. Do what you got to do today at Nebraska, and then get ready because you got a quick turnaround, which is really good too. You got a really quick turnaround. Play tonight. Hopefully take care of business. Tomorrow will be like a light day. You'll practice Wednesday to prepare. Thursday you play.
Because Desomnu playing for the Bulls now. So they lose their best guard, and they're leading the Big Ten right now, talking about Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Winning or losing this game also has a great importance, because if you were to lose back-to-back road games, then you got to travel home. That just adds to it. Now and then tomorrow, it's Tuesday. You got one game or one day in between. and it's back at it, but there's no way you can be up if you were to. I just don't know how you could get yourself up after those back-to-back losses for a team that they haven't been taught. The guys that have been here for 2-3 years, they haven't been taught that Purdue is a big game. So it's going to take Mike Woodson and Dane Fife and those guys to really beat that into them.
Well, and then you don't want to jump the gun too quick, right? Because you don't want to start pumping, hey man, we got to get ready for this team. And then, my introduction to Purdue being a big game was at Purdue freshman year, got hit in the chops. And one of the players he said, I effing hate IU, and just boom.
Who was it? Come on, man. Purdue player. Who was it?
Who was it? It was a guard. I forget his name. No, John. I forget his name. And boy, that was my introduction. And I was like, okay, all right, I got that in mind. And I lit them up my freshman year at home. 21. We end up winning. Scored 21 points. What
was that? 1995.
1995 at home. I had a big dunk. I went crazy. It was Porter. I think his last name was Porter. I went nuts, and I had that in my mind the whole time. I got hit. I made it personal.
That's funny that stuck with you, though.
I made it personal. Because again, it was innocent. It was like I think it was Conzo Martin was shooting a free throw, and I was just happened to be at half court with him. And he was like, man, I freaking hate IU, and just boom. I said, oh, what is that about? Okay, that's personal. I couldn't, and we literally played them like 9 days later, but I couldn't. I didn't let that out of my mind.
We saw that Michael Lewis did a deal with AJ the other day, and of course both of them are great friends of the show. But and I love both of them. But you were lucky enough to play with Michael.
Both of them, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, AJ was at the end too there. So you're in.
AJ was AJ. I told AJ a story that he never knew. I told AJ a story, and hopefully, we'll get back to it. But I told AJ a story he never knew. After my junior year, I literally was like Big Ten honorable mention. I had a really good, solid second half junior year. And Coach Knight wanted me to room with AJ. And it was like one of those situations where it's like, hey man, hey, going into your senior year, we're going to do all this, we're going to do that. And I want you to room with AJ. And this is one of those like closed door meetings, just Coach Knight and myself. So then AJ, man, who you going to live with, your sophomore year, man? Let's go to, I forget, somewhere right across from like Assembly Hall. And we did it. And he didn't even know that. I said, man, it was more of a looking out for you. It was like that was done on purpose. Now, we were good friends, but Coach Knight wanted me to room with you. And that's what we did my senior year, his sophomore year.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Man, the players that are on that team still are just, oh, mercy. The talent. What was it like playing against those guys? I know you played with them more than against them, but getting to go against them in practice, what did that do for you?
Well, you see somebody like another story from AJ. I remember we were at Michigan. It was it was on Valentine's Day. It was a Sunday, and AJ, his freshman, that's his sophomore, freshman year. Yeah, AJ's freshman, sophomore year. I forget. You might look at the game. We ended up winning. But AJ took over the game. He literally blossomed and took over the game. It was a CBS game, I believe. It was a noon game. I remember looking at him, me and Andre Patterson, man, bro, you've arrived. Boy, you just took this game over. Like, I don't even know if you knew what you did. and because he wasn't highly recruited, but see, here's what AJ knew. And I can say this at 45. AJ knew how to play. AJ played in a motion offensive style system when he was younger. He knew how to play. He knew how to move without the ball. When he got the basketball, he was quick enough and smart enough to make, 2-3 dribbles. That was really the style of play back then. They can pull up and shoot. He was athletic. So to see him play and blossom into the player he became, I saw it day one. Even when he was recruited, I saw it day one. Michael Lewis was a tough nose. Play hard, smart. Kind of yappish. Won't stop talking. Kind of talk crap. But it was good to kind of be around those guys. They were a little younger than me, so to kind of see those guys, mentor those guys a little bit. Being a spiritual guy, I was kind of like the rah-rah guy, character guy. And see what those guys are doing now. It was tremendous.
How do you keep in touch with your former IU teammates much?
Yeah, so some of us are on a text string. Major holidays, we go back and forth. Communicating. Robbie Eggers is really the orchestrator of that. Pretty cool. I think we had Robbie on the show before. So we go back and forth on that string, just checking in with guys. Make sure everybody's doing okay. How everybody stay safe, especially around this time.
Hey, we got to take a quick break. We got plenty more. Charlie Miller and myself. We've got a little more Indiana basketball to talk about. What else is going on? What happened in the high schools over the weekend? The big Marion County tournament. That and lots more. Back with it right here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by Remax Realty.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
If you're in the market.
Hey, Jim, I saw what you emailed me. I'm not sure what you want me to do with it.
Well, I didn't realize that was from us from
us
already. Yeah.
That's why I was like, that's our clip.
Which was kind of funny. I was like, I'll be damned. Can you find that clip without that?
Without the commentary?
Yeah, you found it before.
Let me see. That's funny. That's the first thing that comes up when you search that.
I know it. That cracked me up. I was like, what? Oh, that's hilarious.
What we used before, Jim, was the full game. We had to search for it. That was what we did before. That's why we ended up doing that segment.
Start marking that stuff.
Yeah. Charlie, he's talking about your dunk on Purdue. Remember when you did that film breakdown?
Yeah, that's funny.
He sent me the clip in the email, and I was like, we've done that clip before. Like, that was literally our clip where you were breaking it down. And he's like, oh
yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that. And actually, somebody was nice enough to actually he befriended me on Facebook, and this guy, I got to get his name. I want to give him a shout out. He literally has like all, I guess when we were getting rid of like a bunch of VCR old games from what we call the dupe room, duplication room, he actually was able to get his hands on like so many tapes that he actually made them digital, right? So he took the VCR games, made them digital. So he has all these games, and he just hit me with like he said, man, tell me what the games you want. Tell me, he's like a historian, man. The game you did this, you did that. I said, man, send all those games. And by all means, man, he sent me so many games.
Who is it?
I'm gonna get his name. I got to go to my Facebook. Yeah, but
yeah, get it and send it to me. I'll get some of that from him.
No, man, it's pretty cool that he did that. And so because I don't even know what a VCR looks like now, right? But he was able to send them all, stream them, and I have like links in Facebook. I'm sometimes bad at like putting it somewhere like in Dropbox or something. I just go to my Facebook account and click on it from time to time. Anytime I'm down and sad.
All right, here we go. 10 seconds.
298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you here on this Monday. Some snow here in the central Indiana area. I think talked to my daughter the other day. She said that they were even supposed to get snow down in Oxford, Mississippi.
Wow.
I'm like, man. But yeah, when we were in Iowa the other day for the game, which was Thursday night, Friday morning they had a storm coming in. And we're like, we got to hightail it. So as soon as I finished the show, it was like, whew, we're out of there and headed east. And it was like right behind us. They were supposed to get 10 inches there at Iowa City.
Goodness.
I didn't check back to see what they got because I was gone, but and was not going to the Nebraska game, which is where Indiana plays tonight. But thank goodness you don't have to deal with that much, Charlie, do you?
No, not at all. I sometimes I wish just for the kids so they can have a snow day and play in it, but I got a bunch of leaves outside. How about that?
You still have leaves?
Leaves. Well, actually on the ground.
Don't you have a blower, man? Get a blower.
Oh, come on. It's like work. Who does it? It's like work. Who does that?
What? No, man. That's
away.
Raking is work. You just take that blower and just head them in the right direction.
Mother Nature.
Or you blow them over to your neighbor's side.
Well, that's even better. So
see,
yeah.
And then it's not, you determine which way the wind blows, and then that, I'm like, okay, it blows that way, so send them all over his way.
I hear that.
Just kidding. Let's see, what is today? Monday. We do have a Monday night football game tonight. Who is playing tonight? Who's the last game left?
We say Rams, right? Rams play
Rams and the Cardinals.
Rams and the Cardinals. You know, I grew up a Rams fan, an LA Rams fan. They moved to St. Louis, and it just, I don't know what happened. It just, I think that was also the Colts had moved to, Indianapolis by then. And it kind of was a combination of them moving to St. Louis. It made me so mad. I cannot remember why, but it made me so mad. And I don't know why, because Trent Green was on the Rams and, greatest show on dirt. They were having fun, but it wasn't the same for some reason. I never could get behind him in St. Louis.
Man. Yeah, that's when Kurt Warner came, right? Right after Trent Green, right?
Yeah. Well, Trent Green got hurt.
Okay.
And then Kurt Warner was bagging groceries. The next thing, he's winning the Super Bowl.
Isn't that something?
It's nuts, man.
I saw somebody put something like that on Keith Smart. He was working at a McDonald's, and all of a sudden he's at a JC, a junior college, and now he's making shots heard around the world.
I mean, seriously. I mean, stories like that are this close to not happening.
Man. Yeah. Yeah. And
take it even farther. Keith Smart and Dean Garrett,
mm-hmm.
the chances of them being at Indiana, period, probably a year, maybe 2 years prior to that, were nil. Because to my knowledge, up until that point, Bob Knight had recruited exactly 0 JUCO players. Zero ever. And either somebody told him, I don't know if it was Ron Felling or one of the assistants, or maybe it was Bob Knight, I don't know, but he realized that he had to plug in talent now and was able to get Dean Garrett and Keith Smart to fill in a team that was not really athletic.
Right.
I mean, Steve Alford was a great shooter and all that, and hustler. And I'm not saying he wasn't athletic, but he wasn't athletic. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to get to the rim. He's not going to do this.
Right.
He's going to shoot the ball. That's what he's going to do. He's going to run around until he's going to shoot the ball. He's smart, a lot more athletic. Dean Garrett, big old dude, man. Big old athletic dude. And that changed everything, obviously. They won a national championship off of that.
Well, you found guys at that level back then, too. And I would say up until probably like the 90s, late, early 90s, I mean, that was kind of what junior college players were known for, kind of they were ready. They have the size, athleticism, who knows what it might have academically, but they were ready to be plugged into a system and learn how to play, right? And that was it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get some of your old teammates on here just for the fun of the conversation.
Yes.
Even Mike, I know he's out west, but we'll wait till like the second hour. He should be up by then.
That's right.
If he's not, he ought to be.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
I saw and I saw the deal he did with AJ. Did you see where he was sitting?
I didn't see it. I didn't.
Okay. So I didn't listen to it all, but I just saw the picture. He had a chair that he sat right in front of his. Now his pool seemed to be covered at the time, which is a little strange, but I think he was sitting in front of his pool out there in nice Southern California.
Yeah, that's good.
So
you're from Jasper, Indiana. That's a big change.
Who you telling, man? He's up in the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah, that's a big change, man.
I mean, it's the weather is incredible year round. I could see people not wanting to come back. I mean, you can fall in love with that.
Yes, I mean, think about it. When people were saying, Mike Lewis needs to be in Indiana, why are you leaving UCLA? First of all, you got a really good team. You helped recruit a lot of those players. I mean, that's a personal thing too. You got a great situation. You probably built a great network of relationships with coaches in that west side on the basketball sphere. So, and you got great weather, man, coming from where you came from. Nothing against it. Not saying any other weather's bad, but it never rains in Southern California, man.
You ain't lying. Well, Mike Lewis is not leaving UCLA for anything other than a head coaching position.
Yeah.
I mean, he told me that exactly.
I mean,
look, and I don't blame him. He's been an assistant long enough. He's been at some big places. He's been at Nebraska and Butler and now UCLA.
You've put yourself in a situation 15 plus years in. It has to be a head coaching job. It will not be a lateral move. Unless it's a lateral move at a place where we're going to be more of a mentee to somebody who is retiring, and they're going to give you the chip.
That's why he is not at Indiana right now. I can tell you that.
Correct.
But he's doing well. We have to get him on with you, like you said.
That'd be great.
We need to go through the entire roster and get every one of those guys. We've had Dane on.
Yeah.
He was on. He was on with you, right?
Yeah. We had.
Okay, I want to make sure.
He put his tag was Charlie's idol, right? Remember he was.
So he's the greatest. We have to get Dane back on while the season's going on as well. But that would be fun to go through that entire roster just to hear some Charlie stories.
Oh man, it's a bunch of them.
Man, you seem like you were. I mean, I know you weren't perfect. You were a kid like the rest of us, and I'm sure there's some good fun stories, and I'm sure there's some that we won't hear, deservingly so. But you seem like you were a pretty good guy. I mean, I didn't do as much as someone like me probably did.
Nah, Jim, I did a lot, man. I did a lot, man. And, but I was sneaky, man. I'm just being real. I was sneaky. I was and I would make those guys laugh. Just put it that way. I'm going to tell you a good story that involves Michael Lewis. I can't say it on air. I just can't, but it's a good story. On the road, Michael Lewis, Luke Recker, and it's a really, really good story. And two stories with Michael Lewis that I still think about to this day. I was like, why did Mike do that? But he didn't know any better.
What's the best story that you can tell of Michael?
Well, I think the best story to me is a story that's recorded. And it was we played against Michigan, and it was a play where Coach Knight told Mike to do something. And I had 12. Look this game up if you can. I was a senior, I believe, Jim. I had 12 points in 12 minutes. and that was all in the second half. Mike and Coach were arguing back and forth because Mike did exactly what Coach told him to do, and the play didn't work. And Coach thought Mike didn't, and he's yelling back and forth. I was on the bench, and then when he came out, Coach called timeout, and Mike is going at Coach, and Coach is going at Mike. You just see
that when you grabbed him?
You see a hand grab him. I grabbed Mike by the neck, and I just like boom. And I don't even know why I did that. I'm like, bro, shut up. You're right. Shut up. Be quiet. And then it kind of like ceased. But it was like, yeah, that was like the funniest for me, because then we talked about that. But it was like not a big deal. But every time I see that clip, you just see this little black hair come in. You just see this black hair come in, and I grab him by the neck. I don't even know why I did that, but I probably knew where I got it from.
Yeah, I know he.
You know what I'm saying?
Trying to get him to shut up. That's
exactly
way to get him to shut up.
It was one of those things. So but we ended up winning the game. But and then the Coach and I ended up like joking about that. You were right, in Coach Knight's way. Yeah, you did you made the right play. But Coach didn't see that way at the time, and we all saw it. Coach was wrong, and we all laughed about it because we ended up winning that game. But that was kind of, to me, like one of those moments where it's like, man, why'd you do that? But I got his attention.
How often did Coach Knight ever admit that he was wrong about something?
Rarely.
There was probably a ton of times.
Rarely, yeah. Because I remember one time, like here's another funny story. I mean, we were in Indianapolis, and Coach Knight came in on this hey guys, let's see, probably when there was a time around the floor changing.
Yes, if you ever time that possibly a moment in the crowd got the best of you on the floor, maybe a road game, maybe up at Purdue, or people, John saying certain stuff directly at you.
Yeah, I mean, I remember just like people saying overrated. You having a good game, overrated. You shoot air ball, oh God, people having it, but you don't. When you're in the middle of that. Before I tell you that story about Coach Knight, you don't think much about it because, like, first of all, I know for me, I wasn't in the stands just like, point. You got your head down, you hear it, you looking at your team and like, boy, these people crazy. And you just go about your business. But then you show them up, you make a play or two, you smile, and it's over. So, and then to me, that's what forges the character of a person. Because, people talk about pressure and adversity. What better adversity, somebody calling you overrated? What better adversity, somebody saying, you're a bust or something like that, and you end up showing up and showing out. That to me, like, and it may not happen all the time, but, to quiet a crowd on the road, end up, hitting a big shot, and all of a sudden they're quiet, they're looking around, and you're celebrating in your own way that you just did something to kind of say, what, that was my way of doing that. So that's just kind of my story. But with Coach Knight, man, we were in Indianapolis, and he was soft. You know what, guys, I've been hard on you. And blah, blah, blah. And you know what? I want you guys to go around, and I want you to kind of share with us, what us coaches, what can I do to help? First of all, when I heard those words, this is my exact look to Andre Patterson. Everybody else is like, don't say anything. Don't.
Trick.
And it's a trick. It was one player who gave his feelings. And I was
like, walk on?
Nope. He was about 7 foot tall.
Oh.
And he may not remember this stuff. Richard Mandeville. I got to snitch on you. Richard over there just talking. Yeah, coach, this, that, and other. And coach over there. Yeah. I'm like, oh, no. Oh. All it's going to take is one tough game. Oh. And it wasn't even 2 weeks later. All of that came back. God dang it. Not dang it, but all that. I don't even know why I did this. And I'm like, oh man, what was the point? What was the freaking point? Like, coach, anytime he came, what do you think? Well, coach, what do you think? I learned how to be a suppositional ask question person. What do you think, Jim? Just what I think. What you don't care what I think. What do you think, Coach? What you would think we should do? I don't know. What should I do? All right, cool. Like, come on, man. You just, because I remember him saying literally, like, I remember watching 2 years ago a clip. It was like an old clip of him running practice. And he would strategically ask us questions. And he talked about this as his strategy. The stuff I don't care about, I would always give the players a say. You want to practice at 3 or 5? We're going to practice. I don't care what time. See, that was Coach Knight's thing. So he wanted to make you feel like you were involved. Nothing against it. That was his little way. We're going to practice 3 or 5. Oh, 5 o'clock. Okay, cool. Like we got some say. And I knew that was his little cat and mouse game. I mean, Coach Knight was the biggest, and it's okay. He was the biggest mind controller. He wanted your mind. He wanted you. And for me, it's okay. Where he lost a lot of us was you didn't know how to think on your own because you wanted to play for him. You wanted to do things for him. And I think he realized that. He realized that towards the tail end, I know, of my career after the personal conversations that we had and what he was apologizing. And I'm sitting there like, well, it is what it is, Coach. I mean, you don't know any better at 18, 19, 21. I'm not going to tell you to F off. No, man, I'm coming to play for you. You tell me knock down a damn wall, I'm going to knock down the damn wall with bloody hands, right? I'm going to go see Dr. Bomba afterwards to go get fixed up. You don't know any better, right? And it's tough to say, oh, he didn't mean that. He didn't. No, you're gullible. You want the best because you're playing for somebody that means a lot to you and everybody around you. So I know that was my story, right? That's my story. And I know my personal stories I had with Coach Knight after playing, which ends up kind of well-rounding me as a person, right? But he was not he was not easy to play for. Just put it that way.
Yeah, I wonder, was everyone able to figure it out like you did? You figured it out, and so you knew how to use it to your advantage.
Yeah,
and to learn from it, to maximize the learning from it.
Yeah, but it took years, man. I mean, because it took years, and I'll just share. It took years because of everything that was promised to me, everything I was supposed to become. Right? I didn't realize the shoes I was trying to fill, being a left-handed, mid-range shooter, like trying to fill a position like a Calbert Chaney. I didn't grow up watching Indiana basketball, so I didn't understand that comparison. And then, played a lot my freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. My senior year kind of fell off the face of the earth. I didn't get that. Like my playing time waned, and it helped me lose confidence. I was just trying to figure out who I was as a player. I'm really big on talking about identity. Knowing who you are as a player and why you're doing certain things. I end up learning these things at a later part of a self-discovery as a player. But those are the reasons right now why I do what I do as a player development coach, and especially a holistic one, not just talk about what you do on the court and what you do mentally, man, what you understand physically, what you understand emotionally. But, playing for somebody like a Coach Knight, people always go with those stories. Oh my God, I keep my old school environment like Coach Knight. Well, that's pretty cute. I play for the guy. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's like, you don't use those analogies as scare tactics. Like, I was around that every single day. And everyone got back at Coach Knight. He liked that. But then everybody we have all our own stories with that. And we played for Coach Knight at a time where I feel in the late 90s, we played for Coach Knight at a time where there was always controversy around his retirement, his firing, all the things he did off the court. And we're kind of just always lingering, always like stuff that just really made you play in trauma. We played in drama and we played in trauma. You didn't look at it that way, but it was always something going on that you had to escape. You had to word a different way. You had to be coached on, don't talk about this. If media comes to you, somebody comes in there. It's like all this stuff that you're dealing with at 18, 19, you don't realize, you don't understand the impact of that. You just want to go play, have fun, be a collegiate kid on the campus like a Bloomington, and join Kirkwood. You got a lot of trauma around you and drama, man. that you didn't understand that you take on. So to me, that was always the latter part of my sophomore, junior, senior years, guys. It was always something about Coach Knight firing, or he did something at a restaurant. And like, whether it was real or not, it was always something that we had to deal with. And I think it really affected the way we played. I personally do. And again, sophomore, junior, senior year, I personally think it did. And then it came to haunt, 2-3 years later when he got let go.
No question. Hey, we'll talk about more of this. Charlie Miller. Joining up next, we're also going to be joined by Jim Reamer. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming right back. Brought to you after this. Brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. If you're down in Southern Indiana, give them a stop in. Fresh food made daily. Back right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration. That was great stuff, Charlie.
Appreciate it. Hey, Jim.
What's happening?
Yes, sir. Oh, hey, Jim.
yeah. Other Jim.
You haven't been in your studio setting in a while.
I think he's been in the corner.
I was there last week.
Was I here last week? I can't remember if I was here.
I don't think so. This is what I would say my normal studio setting is. Anytime I've got this, I'm at my desk. Although I've got a nice place to be when I'm in Greenfield, when I'm at Steph's.
Jim, that picture too, that vertical picture behind you to your left shoulder.
Yeah.
We need to straighten that up, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
The shelf.
Yeah. We need
the bottom. The bottom's
hold on,
in too far.
Hold on, damn it.
A little bit, please. Yeah. This my attention to detail is killing me, Jim. I'm sorry. I can't keep it to myself.
Damn, that's way far away. That's like the Grand Canyon.
It's okay.
You know what? There we go.
Stuck to the wall.
Come on, Jim. Keep going.
A little more. More.
Keep going, man. Come on.
Keep coming. Keep bringing it.
Let's go, Reem.
A little more. Just needs a tick more.
No, Reem. Keep going. No, Reem. No.
You're not quite there yet.
No, man. Look at the other picture, dude. Come on.
There you go.
I am.
That looks better.
The top, Jim. Move the top to the left. Come on, man.
No, the top is
the top to the right. I'm sorry, because I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Well,
what is that? A shelf or something?
Yeah. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay.
It's a whole shelf.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, there's stuff on there.
Oh man, that's okay. All right, we'll figure it out.
Straighten up.
We'll figure it out.
This is what happens when you let other people.
Nobody
I should have done that on the air.
We could have. I'd have been all right with it.
That would have been funny.
This is what happens when you let other people put stuff in your.
There you go.
I don't care what it is as long as it's basketball related.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
This is my sort of man cave, I guess. My den.
Well, it's fitting. I like that.
It's messy today, but
no.
All right, here we go.
The trims for 0% APR financing over 48 months and $0 down. Or how about a brand new 2021 Honda Passport? Also 0% APR financing over 48 months and $0 down. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat Radio brought to you by our good friends at Reynolds Family Dentistry down in Sellersburg. Go see Dr. J for that championship-winning smile. Jim Reamer joins us now. Charlie Miller with us, of course. Marion County Tournament. It's a big deal, huh?
Yeah, you thought I'd go to it, right?
Yeah.
I was in Southern Indiana. No, I
Really?
was in Southern Indiana all weekend. Yeah, I went to North Harrison Friday night. Was in Evansville all morning and afternoon, and then watching games, and then it's just and then back through Southern Indiana on the way home.
Well, you know, do you know what you missed Friday night? You should have went to Floyd Central Jeffersonville.
Well, I'm going to be in Floyd Central on the 29th.
Yeah,
so,
but they were acknowledging the 50th anniversary of their Final Four team from 1971, 4 years after the school opened. And I think that they may have lost to the greatest team in Indiana's basketball history.
Washington. Wait.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those that is considered that. East Chicago, Washington had Junior Bridgman, Pete Turgovich played for UCLA. Had Mel Stoddard, who pitched for in Major League Baseball.
Primarily Baltimore.
Yeah, so, but, yeah, that was – I did not get to attend because I was coming back from Iowa. We ended up getting back late, and I didn't get to go. So that's just that's a chance in a lifetime. It'll never happen again, that 50th anniversary of those guys. And I really, really disappointed I didn't get to go see that. But
you mean it'll never happen again because why? I mean, they went back in 89. Which part of that won't ever happen?
No,
again?
I meant the 50-year anniversary of those guys because that was before a few years before my relevance as a human, I guess.
Right.
So I knew about them, but I didn't know all of them.
Did you go because when Carmel won state in 77 when it was a much smaller school, and I mean I remember being there. I remember certain details about the game, especially how they won it. But I remember some of the stops along the way, but mostly just how big the arenas were. Like my first real introduction to the Wigwam, my first time in Fort Wayne Coliseum, things like that stand out as I got older. But I remember certain details about the finals games, or the finals game that year, and
Market Square Arena, baby, Charlie. Yeah. Market Square Arena in Indianapolis. Did you ever go to that?
I played there. We played there. Yeah, actually, that's kind of the story I talked about. We were at a hotel. I forget that hotel. It was like downtown, but we used to play in Market Square.
We're going to obsess about which hotel it is, but which
man, it was what
was it? The Hyatt? Was it the Hyatt? The rotating. Is there a hospital around? Yeah, but that's on the east. That's on the west side, west of downtown.
Wrong, I can't. But then we were always downtown somewhere.
Well, Methodist and all that.
I can't.
But the coolest thing about it was over the street. It was over Market Street. You drove under the arena.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cool thing about it. Very, very cool. And then the name was very cool. Market Square Arena. I mean, but oh well. But yeah, fun times back then. That's where I remember seeing the last time that Floyd went to the Final Four was at Market Square Arena in 89. So with Pat Graham, and played against Todd Leary and Eric Montross. But Charlie, that's the coolest thing. If you were from Indiana and you had the knowledge of like the teams from the late 60s, you would just shake your head. I'm talking about Steve McGinnis, Steve Downing, Mike Woodson, Steve Risley, all these names that were on these big time IU teams were Indiana high school guys. And those are the just ones you've heard that went to IU.
Right.
Like the guys that they're on that East Chicago Washington team, Turgovich goes to UCLA, Junior Bridgman goes to Louisville, Floyd Central. My team had Jerry Schellenberg. He went to Wake Forest. His brother went to Alabama. It's just the talent. It's just nuts from way back. And that's why Indiana is the state. It's not BS. It's for real, man. It just produces players.
We're talking, is this 80s, 70s, 80s?
Well, you can go back to late 60s. George McGinnis was a high schooler in the late 60s.
Right. Right.
He graduated in 69.
To me, you got to go with, again, environment, cold weather, where you going to be at inside.
Yeah.
You got to go with Midwest back then, basketball, heavy. No, I mean, to me, I'm not surprised. And then everybody is into, and this is kind of pre-Bob Knight days back then, you're into basketball. That's like in Florida. Weather, outside, sunny. All we know is running and chasing rabbits for training. And I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
Oh, are you serious?
Seriously. And then you see players come from Belgrade, like all these places in football. Seriously, and how you can name them in basketball, I can name them in football.
Oscar Robertson.
Yeah, exactly.
Larry Bird.
Well, exactly. I can name the Melvin Brattons that played at University of Miami, the Benny Blades.
Yes.
I can name those guys who I looked up to.
Florida is the football producingest. Are they the? I wonder if they're the per capita, if they produce the most over like Texas or not.
I don't think
it's
anymore.
Just Florida produces specialty talent.
Yeah, I don't think anymore.
Quarterbacks, running backs, speed, specialty players. Not so much linemen.
I think it's more wide open now, but I think back then, and I shared this, University of Miami is still a private institution. And then in the 80s, they had less than 5,000 students. So the Snellenbergers didn't have to go too far. All he had to do was go to probably Liberty City, the northern sector of Miami, or go as far as Broward County, and he had so much talent, and they were independent. So you had no conference. So all I knew, every time you looked up, they were playing against Nebraska in the next championship, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Notre Dame. They had no conference. I mean, you had super talent. Now that's just my story to football, which I thought I was going to be doing, following those guys' footsteps, right? So, but yeah, like you can name them in basketball, I can name them in football. And right there in my neighborhood, 5 minutes away from my doorstep, I can walk out to that campus, and I saw all of that greatness every single day. And we used to also steal. Jim Reamer used to, every year they throw away their gear. We used to go into the dumpsters, and everybody would have red quarterback jerseys in the neighborhood, walk around with University of Miami football pads on, had nowhere to go.
Free advertising.
It's kind of like Coming to America when they set their luggage outside on the street and they went into the barbershop for a minute.
Could you imagine walking through a locker room? We used to walk through the locker room. Literally, the campus used to be wide open. Walk in the locker room, smell the funk, love it. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm in the locker room. Look, kids, get out of here. We go hide in the bathroom, in the showers. Like, that was kind of like how we grew up, man. I was spoiled. You didn't realize the greatness you were watching in front of you. So, how you guys can name it in basketball, man, I can name it in football.
Absolutely. Steve's talking about, I was talking about Floyd Central again back in 71. New Albany and Jeffersonville also were, not only were they good, Jeffersonville had Mike Flynn, who was the Mr. Basketball.
Wow.
These are three high schools that are within like a dot that you can put them in, dot, right there.
Yeah.
They battled, like these games were 90s and the 80s. New Albany almost beat, I think, Floyd in the sectional. Then they go to the regional where they played at Seymour, which is the 8,000 seat gym. Barron Hill, who is or was a representative, was their big time player. They had an 18-point lead going in the fourth quarter over Floyd Central. Floyd Central overcame an 18-point lead.
That's big. Especially in high school.
With no 3-point shot.
Yeah.
With no 3-point shot. That's great defense, taking care of the ball, and putting the ball in the hole. Probably attacking the basket. Pahokee. Yeah.
Pahokee probably produced Division I talent more than anywhere else in the country per capita. There you go.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very possible because like I said, the skill players, man, Florida became known, Benny Blades and Miami and all those Miami, Florida State back in the 80s when they were all just rolling.
Yes.
Fun times.
Yeah.
So let's see what happened at the Marion County tournament this year. Did Ben Davis end up winning this?
They didn't. They lost to North Central in overtime by 1.
Did they
That would have
really?
been that's a game I need to get a hold of and watch. And the deal with Ben Davis. So every week when we podcast, we do our best. We do like a best game, best team, best player of what we just watched the previous week. And Ben Davis last week was just really impressed. I saw them Tuesday night completely dismantle Lawrence North, which means that's CJ Gunn. They did a good job on him. I mean, he certainly was working to get his, and the rest of that group didn't play very well. But Ben Davis just annihilated them from the start. And they did the exact same thing to Pike, who's having a very good year. And this is one of the, Pike has been kind of down the last 2 or 3 years. And they came into the county tournament with an 8-game winning streak, and Ben Davis was ahead of them, I think 41-19 at one point. And that was the semifinal game. And I thought, I figured Ben Davis would win it just the way they were playing. I didn't necessarily think that they would blow North Central out because I think that can sometimes still be kind of fluky. But at the same time, I didn't anticipate North Central beating them, and I definitely didn't anticipate them beating them if it got that high into the score, if it was played at that pace. So. Be a game worth watching if I can figure out a way to get it. If it's I don't know if it was streamed and it's archived or what, but it'd be definitely something to watch if you can.
Yeah, Ben Davis had kind of owned that tournament, hadn't they?
No. I mean, they've had a couple of down years. They're just cycling through those. Look, we also talked about they've got a really good group of juniors there, and 3 of them have played since their freshman year, so they've taken some lumps. The last couple of years, and I don't mean like they've just been beaten badly. I mean they just haven't had the kind of record you would think that a traditional Ben Davis team would have. And basketball on the West Side's been kind of down the last couple of years, but now it's back and it's good. I always like it when traditional powers are good. Not that I don't like it when other teams step up, but it's just it brings back. We talk about memories. It brings back memories of all those great teams that I grew up watching play. Even just on Carmel's schedule, but no, Ben Davis has not been great the last couple of years. Always kind of competitive, but now they've gotten over the hump and playing really well. So North Central's in that boat right now too. They're kind of having a little bit of a resurgence after being down the last few years. So they're having a really good year.
Sean asked, Jim, I've heard the rumor of a shot clock coming Indiana high school basketball soon. Have you heard anything about that and your thoughts? If so, what are you hearing? I have not. I can tell you right now, nothing is coming soon. There's not even any serious discussions to my knowledge. I know that there have been discussions, but nothing that I would label as serious or even close to that coming to fruition.
Well, the National Federation of High Schools finally like voted it in, whatever that means. They basically voted it in their rules or their however they handle that process. And not every state you're not required to follow
that. You're allowed to use it.
Yes, yeah, state by state. It's not mandated, but it's voted in as you're allowed to do that. I don't know why they have a governing voice over how games are played, but they do. It's just one level of bureaucracy that I don't think we need. But I was sitting next to an IHSA member, like an executive committee member, or however they have their breakdown within their infrastructure, and he was talking to a friend of his. I don't even really know the guy's name, but I'm not going to out who it is. But he was saying that he was against the shot clock because he said, well, if a team really needs to slow it down to be competitive, who am I to say they shouldn't do that? And I'm like,
yeah,
that kind of stuff. Like, and I'm one of those guys that I kind of got a little hedged perspective on it, where I don't think that we need it, but I do think it improves the game, and I would like to see it. The reason why I don't think we need it is because I think that there are some costs involved in getting the clock, getting the technology put in. A lot of schools don't have it. I'm not even sure if Carmel has it, if they're shot clock capable at this point. But a lot of schools don't have it. There's personnel issues that there would be some growing pains there. Imagine all the complaints you get now with people accusing officials and scorekeepers and timers of being homers and all that. Imagine how much crap that would create. I mean, I guess that's going to happen no matter what when you first institute it. But so that maybe that's unavoidable. But there would definitely be some growing pains on the mechanics of the shot clock and how that works. I would like to see it. I think it would clean up the end of games. Definitely would clean up the end of games, and it would probably clean up the end of a quarter too. The end of any clock, any other bigger clock. But the end of game situations, there would be far less fouling in 1 and 2 possession games than what you see now, and it would really force teams on both sides of the ball to just play basketball.
So. I agree. I'd like to see it. Absolutely would like to see it. It needs to be modernized. It's a part of the game, and it needs to be modernized to the high school level. Not anything below that, but the high school level needs to be modern, in my opinion. Charlie, what are your thoughts? I mean, you obviously are that's what you do. You teach kids every day. So, what are your thoughts on that? You're muted.
You're mute, Charlie.
You're still on mute there, Charlie. You're muted, brother.
All right. I was saying some curse words. You hear that? Okay, I'm back.
He was cussing.
So anyway,
you like it that you like the shot clock that much?
No. Here's my thoughts. My thoughts are we should play with a shot clock, and here's why: because we live in a top-down society. If we want to talk about the NFL and the NBA, you play with a shot clock. College play with a shot clock. Give the kids an opportunity to understand what it means on time management, playing with a system of importance. That to me is the only reason I give it. Like you go from not playing a shot clock to playing with one. So like, I don't think it's about anything about the file. I'm nothing against the files, but the way of playing with a sense of importance, understanding every possession, getting the ball across back court, front court,
better decision making.
To me, it flows with if you have that opportunity to transition to a collegiate game. Now you're going to have that shot clock. If you have to transition to the professional game, you're going to play with that. That's the only reason why, for me, I'm like, give the players an opportunity to understand what you may be able to do, at the higher learning opportunity and then beyond. That to me is my only kind of thing. We don't do it at a young age. We always try to compare the high school kids to the college and professional kids, which is like, no, you can't do that. Nothing against the Jalen Hood-Safinos. That's awesome what he's doing in high school. That's awesome. You can't compare what he's going to do that in college. You can't compare what somebody's going to do at the college level, at the pro level, unless you start playing with those kind of rules.
Well, I think that some
teams go to a shot clock in high school, you have to pretty much go to it at all levels, which I don't understand what he means. Are you talking about elementary?
No, he said you just pretty much have it. Well, maybe I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't agree. You have to have it younger than high school. That would be
high school's it, man. It just high school, and I don't know that you put it on high school girls. Do you put it on high school girls and boys?
Yeah, I don't know why not. At that point, your technology, but a lot of people cite scoring and low scores, and this wouldn't happen if it was a shot clock, and I would argue that all day because I've seen some bad basketball teams. I was in a team that didn't win. I was with a team that didn't win a lot of games for 2 years. We didn't have the ball for 35 seconds. We never. I'm not sure we had the ball for 10 seconds sometimes. I don't know that it would change much in terms of total points scored in a game. I think it would reward defenses. I think it would allow defenses to buckle under and say, look, we know if we play a perfect defensive possession, we're only going to have to play for, let's insert a random number, 35 seconds, which is what I think it would be if it came to college or it came to high school. And we also put in a situation where teams that might then be incentive to manage the possession more. We see that at the college level, right, Charlie? We talk a lot about teams that do things early in the clock, middle of the clock, and late in the clock, to the point where we now have this thing called false motion, which is what teams do at the beginning of a possession to get them into their freaking offense.
Okay, so Jim, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you're good. No, I was done. You're good.
because somebody asked the question, what kind of offense is IU running? And your term is what I gave a description. It's a lot of uphill action that doesn't mean much. Little screens, dribble handoffs, skipping, but that false motion until you get to the latter part of the clock. But that's kind of what I alluded to what IU's kind of doing. But go ahead. Sorry.
And the purpose of you're good, because that's perfect. The purpose of it is, and the purpose of it in all instances isn't necessarily to run clock. It is to force the defense to guard action.
Exactly. Until
you really scout them.
Right.
And realize during those 10 seconds or 8 or however long it is, they're not really doing anything.
They're not doing anything.
And I didn't mean it to be an IU. Hold on, Jim. I didn't mean it to be an IU specific thing.
Right.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, no, but I want to say it. Now, I'm not blaming you, but it's just it's ball movement from side to side again to make you think they're doing something, and then all of a sudden they got something going to their strong side, which you weren't paying attention. That's why a lot of times you see guys just sit back, upright, watching, letting the first 10, 15 minutes, just kind of seconds, of the shot clock of the clock just go until it comes down to that time. But then that's why I think you get in trouble because now there's no opportunity.
There's more.
We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Indiana as they take on Nebraska tonight in Lincoln, a game that they have to win. There's just no other way to say it. Back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration or
I would like to say when we come back, there is a lot more purpose at the beginning of possessions now than there was in Archie's. Archie's time.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of times from the IU perspective, it's more of a changeup because obviously early in the clock they're going to trace.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they don't want to go directly to him. They want to make them guard other movement. But
right.
I'm not always sure that other movement has a whole lot of purpose to it. So
right.
Jim, I've never seen you assert your authority to go to break like that before.
Who, me?
Coyle.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
me.
Coyle. Oh, I told Jim to hold on. Let me get this out real quick. My bad.
No, it's all right.
You, Reamer. That was my choice. I played Charles Barkley on that one.
Charlie and I were going.
I played Charles.
Charlie, you were good. Charlie, you thought you were going to be a football player until you grew to be 6'7".
That's right. Hey,
then
I still remember that hit. I got one chop block, and it was the basketball court from that point on.
Yes, absolutely. That's where I was going with that. I said, then your knees started kicking in.
It was one chop block, and I'm done with this game. I still remember that day. I'm not putting on another uniform ever.
God, I'm getting old. My mother. Don't forget to reschedule your colonoscopy. Okay, thanks.
Speaking of which, I got to go pick up Kevin Brockway today for me getting just that.
And we've had a lot of guests get colonoscopies in the past.
And let me tell you, if you think that's not going to be a topic of conversation tomorrow, you are wrong.
We had Chris Denari get a colonoscopy. Now Kevin, evidently Jim Reamer's getting one. I feel like there's somebody else who got a colonoscopy. Oh, Bob Kravitz. Kravitz had
I'm moving mine. Yeah, I'm moving mine. My mom's having a rough stretch right now where she's the one that has to pick me up, or take me and pick me up. So gotta wait for her to get her back healthy where she can do it. So I'm assuming that only we can hear that, or maybe the YouTube audience. I don't know how that's.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't hear any of the.
I'm at that Mark II, fellas. But I'm doing that color guard. You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know what they're going to do. I just know that whatever it is, I'm supposed to go Thursday, and I'm rescheduling it for next month. So,
all right, here we go.
Come and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you on this Monday. It is a cold one, but happy celebrating Martin Luther King Day as well. Keep those thoughts in mind as you go out the day. Travel with peace in your heart. Or what did I just watched Joe Dirt yesterday?
Yeah.
What did he always say? It's have love in, you got to have love in your heart or something.
That's funny.
Where are you going to be when Jesus comes back? You got to have love in your heart.
Joe Dirty.
Joe Dirty, yeah. That's I know it's a dumb movie, but it's just one of those that just there's no way you can't laugh at some of that stuff. It's kind of funny. Pretty funny. Charlie tonight and Jim. Indiana taking on Nebraska on the road. This is a win that Indiana just has to have. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Nebraska they're winless in the Big Ten. I know that they played some teams tough. They played Illinois tough recently. I think it was Ohio State. But this is a win that Indiana, it doesn't matter the reason. It doesn't matter that they have not won on the road in 8 straight. It doesn't matter. They have to win this game. Yeah. So Bryce McGowan's, he's a former number 29 recruit for Nebraska. In the first game, Indiana held him in check. Only had 8 points on 3 of 14 shooting. Alonzo Verge was their guy, though. He had 15 points, 5 boards, and 3 assists. Trace Jackson had a great all-around performance in that game, 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 blocks. But they're going to need, I think, a more rounded offense on the road.
Yeah. Jim, yes.
Well, you look at it too. There's a lot of angst going on that they haven't won on the road yet, and so far that's true. I mean, Rutgers. What's Rutgers' record? Wait, did they lose Rutgers? Yeah. What's their record?
Rutgers.
Hey, hold on. Boy. Who did? I need to get
where the hell did Rutgers go? Oh, Rutgers is 10-6 overall, man. 4-2 in the league. They're 9-1 at home. Now they're 1-5 on the road. Rutgers is one of those teams that is just going to have to beat you at home.
I'm sorry, it was Nebraska. They played early in the year. My fault. I was getting their early Big Ten games mixed up. I know they won 1, lost 1. I thought they'd never mind. Anyways, I think when you lose at Iowa, and I think you lose at Wisconsin, there's no moral victories. There's no those are whatever. But the people are a lot of angst right now over Indiana's record, and I don't know that I worry about overall record if you do have a loss at a good Iowa team or you do have a good loss at a good Wisconsin team. I think you look at maybe the way you lost those games, maybe the way you had leads in both those games and that you didn't pull out the win. I think that can be somewhat concerning. But at the same time, what you said, Jim, is this is a win you got to get just because Nebraska's bad. That's the main thing.
0-7.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. I mean, this was, later in the year, and they were 14-3 in the Big Ten or whatever. I still think this would be a win you have to have because they're a bad team. But I think right now people are just butt clenching, I guess, for lack of a better word, because they haven't had a true road win yet, and there's just a lot of that goes on in the fan base, none of which really affects the team or impacts play. So,
hey Jim, I think that's a lot that goes on in that court too. That's what happens. That butt clenching, you kind of see it in the second half.
Well, if they listen to the criticisms of people who aren't invested into them, sure.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody on staff's running around going, "Oh, we can't win on the road."
Right. Yeah, I figured out.
Yeah. But you know way more than me what it's like on campus when you're going through a bad stretch. I mean, I heard what you were talking about before the segment before I came in, and a lot of that stuff a lot of the stuff you were talking about from a Coach Knight perspective or from an IU perspective when you were playing there would not have dented any type of coverage if it wasn't for the fact that it was such a high profile program with such a high profile and successful coach. So
correct.
I don't know if the players are listening to people outside the program, like the immediate program, then maybe they are a little, maybe they do have a little bit of tentativeness when they play, but But I mean, I just think today they got to come out with a little bit of hunger and take care of business.
Well, I don't know. I think for me, it kind of goes into the social media realm, like, you know, the
Absolutely.
blogs and all that stuff, which is okay. But then all of a sudden it gets shut down when you're not playing good. Well, be consistent. I mean, that, and then, you know, you just don't want to do it when you're fair with it, when everything's great. But that's just now the fan, you know, just the interactions. I think the interactions are so blurred. The lines are so blurred that, okay, you get quiet when you're not playing well. You talk a lot when you're playing well. Those are just things I can't really speak on more so than that. Then how would you even deal with it if you had that back kind of when I played, you know, back in the 90s? I can't even imagine having that kind of interaction with fans when you win. So that's just my take.
Well, man, it has been another fun one. It's a little chilly up there. Indiana game coming on at 6 today, Eastern Standard Time. So looking forward to that as they are travel to Nebraska. Then later on, the game after that of great importance is Purdue is at Illinois. So some big games tonight. Big Monday. It's back to Big Monday, baby.
Yes.
Cannot thank you enough, Charlie. Charlie, what's your week look like? Quickly.
Oh man, this week back consulting at the school, ready to play some good backyard games, do some basketball illustrations, have some fun with the kids, man, and just on the court training as I'm getting my body and everything right back into my season. Jim Reamer and Jim Coyle, that's coming up in about 6 weeks where I'm traveling and doing all that stuff back with camps. So kind of get back into the fray of things.
Yep. Jim Reamer, I know you got high school basketball to get to as well. Can't thank you enough as always. Don Fisher will be with us on Wednesday because he was trapped because of the game and all that stuff going on today. So he'll be with us on Wednesday. We'll be back tonight. We got the post-game show. So until tonight after the game, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
This went by quick.
I'm telling you, man.